We are going to talk about nucleophilic substitution reactions in alkyl halides which proceed via a unimolecular mechanism. We call them as SN1 reactions, where S stands for substitution, N for nucleophilic, and and 1 for unimolecular. Now, as for our previous discussions, you know that when I say unimolecular, that means that only one of the reactants will be determining the rate of reaction. Now, how will this be possible? Because previously we studied about SN2 reactions in which the reaction was bimolecular, and the two reactant molecules, they both of them determined the rate of reaction, and they were the substrate and the attacking reagent, which was the nucleophile. So the rate of reaction depending upon the concentration of both of these, while in this case the reaction rate will be depending only on the concentration of alkyl halide and not on the concentration of the nucleophile. Now, if that happens, then what is the mechanism of the reaction? Because I should revise that previously the reaction proceeded in a single step in a concerted manner, in which both of the reactants, they participated in the reaction at the same time, and hence the rate of reaction depended on the concentration of both of the reactants. In this case, however, the reaction proceeds in two steps, and these two steps are, first of all, there is the formation of an intermediate carbocation, and in the next step that carbocation reacts with the nucleophile to yield the ultimate product, that is the substituted product. This you can see here. Is it clear to you? The alkyl halide here. Now can you see this alkyl halide clearly? This alkyl halide, as the nucleophile approaches it, it gets ionized actually, and it releases X negative ion along with this R positive. Now what is this R positive? This is the carbocation which will be formed here, and this carbocation is formed via this process, which is a slow process. It's a really slow process by which this carbocation gets formed. In the next step, this carbocation will be picking up the nucleophile. Again, I have taken the example of hydroxyl ion, that is OH negative, as the attacking nucleophile. It will attack this carbocation, and this attack will be rapid. It will be a fast step yielding ROH ultimately. So here the reaction is taking place in two steps, out of which the first step is the faster one, and the first step is the slower one, and the second step is faster, because the overall rate of reaction depends on only the slower step, that is the rate determining step of the reaction. So here the first step is the rate determining step, and it involves only Rx. That means that the rate of reaction here will be depending only upon the concentration of Rx, that is the alkyl halide, and hence you can write the rate equation here as R being equal to K into the concentration of the alkyl halide, which makes it the first order reaction, and this first order reaction can also be written as SN1 reaction, that is unimolecular reaction. So I hope that you understand the mechanism part of it, which is clearly a two-step process in which there are two steps. One step is slower and the other one is faster, and slower step involves only one reactant, and therefore the rate of reaction is dependent only on that alkyl halide, only that reactant. Therefore, this is a unimolecular reaction. So you can see that in this reaction, the slower step which is written here, taking the actual example of this tertiary butyl bromide. Can you see it? Tertiary butyl bromide. Tertiary butyl bromide will be dissociating slowly into this carbocation and bromide ion. This carbocation which is formed here is tertiary butyl carbocation, and this carbocation then reacts with the nucleophile and will be forming this tertiary butyl alcohol. Now this particular cation, carbocation, as you can see, is a tertiary kind of carbocation, and the energy to required to carry out this whole process will be supplied by the ion dipole interaction between the ions and the solvent. I should re-emphasize this point, that because you can see that here a stable molecule such as an alkyl halide is going to dissociate initially into carbocation and bromide ion, which is an energy requiring process. It requires a huge amount of energy. And from where will this energy be supplied? This energy primarily comes from the interaction between these ions which are formed and the solvent. So this point we will be discussing later on also when we study the effect of solvents on this reaction. But you must be clear in your mind about the energy source of this reaction, and of course once formed, then there is a formation of a stable bond between this ion, that is the carbocation, and the nucleophile, and a stable bond is formed which also supplies energy, but initially the energy is given by that ion solvent interaction. Now should we see the energy diagram, energy profile diagram of this reaction, which is very simple, very clear. Here we are taking energy on this side and progress of reaction on the x-axis, and reactant actually changes into product via this carbocation, this intermediate carbocation which is formed here. Now as you can see that the reaction proceeds in two steps. Therefore, for the first step there reaches a transition state, and then ultimately then in between a carbocation is formed which is slightly stabler, and this carbocation then via another transition state, which is the transition state for the second step, changes into product. So what happens actually is that the reactant passes through this carbocation stage, that is the first step, and then this carbocation changes into product, and we obtain two peaks here corresponding to the step 1 and step 2, and these peaks again correspond to transition state 1 and 2, and you can see that the transition state for the first step is having a higher energy as compared to the transition state for the second state, which means that activation energy for the first step is more as compared to that for the second step. Again, underlining this point that the first step is more difficult for the reactants, and therefore it is slower one, requires more energy, takes time, right? And then once this carbocation is formed, then relatively the second step is faster and quickly changes into the product. Now I hope that this energy profile diagram makes the things further clear for you for this particular reaction, and whether this reaction is taking place via this carbocation mechanism is again proven by the elaborate studies made on these kinds of reactions, taking so many examples in which we see that rearrangements also take place in this kind of reaction. You must be remembering that whichever reaction proceeds via carbocation intermediate, it almost always leads to rearrangements, and these rearrangements can be seen here. One of the examples you can take is that of this molecule. Now this molecule is clear to you, this particular alkyl halide. This alkyl halide is actually a derivative of here 1, 2, 3, 4 butane, in which there is present a bromine atom at position number 2. Bromine atom at position number 2. Now this bromine atom which is present here is going to be removed first. Can you see that? And if it is removed here, then the result will be the formation of this positive ion, and this positive ion, that is the carbocation which is formed here. What kind of carbocation is this? This is a secondary carbocation, and it can actually be changed into a tertiary carbocation. How can this be done, or how does this take place? By the removal of this H in the form of H negative. Do you remember, we call it hydride shift? So via this hydride shift, this H negative will be present. H negative will be present on this carbon, which was originally having a positive charge, resulting in the shifting of positive charge onto the next carbon. Am I clear on this point? When this happens, this carbon atom, which has now become positively charged, this will be the new carbocation which is formed and which is the preferred one. Now, why is this the preferred carbocation? Yes, everybody can answer that. It is because this is a tertiary type of carbocation, more stable as compared to the secondary carbocation which was originally formed, and therefore it will be formed in preference, and it will be formed via a hydride ion shift, and this tertiary carbocation will then be picking up the nucleophile, resulting in this product. So in this case, you can see that instead of the expected product, you obtain this kind of product here. We have discussed this so many times previously. Therefore, you know it very well that wherever the reactions they proceed via carbocation intermediate, there is always a tendency for a stabler carbocation to be formed, and the order of stability of carbocations is that tertiary carbocation is most stable, followed by secondary and then primary, and last of all the methyl carbocation. So here also this order remains the same, and therefore the reaction gives you the products accordingly. Now you must remember that there will be no rearrangements possible in SN2 kinds of reactions, and this is in contrast with the SN1 reactions which we have seen right now. What about the stereochemistry of SN1 reactions? Now stereochemistry of SN1 reactions can be discussed. Now I hope that this kind of reaction depiction which I have shown here is clear to you. Is it clear to you now? Here I have shown the reaction which takes place via the carbocation intermediate here. I think that we should discuss the stereochemistry of SN1 reaction in our next lecture. In the meantime, if you need notes of these, I can put them on WhatsApp. These notes, if they are not clear to you, if these reactions are not clear to you, I'll put them on WhatsApp. Please let me know about it. Okay, so that's all for today, and we'll be meeting tomorrow, proceeding with the stereochemistry of SN1 reactions.